This is one of the scariest places in America, and even the locals won't go near it because it's cursed. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what happened to me there. I'm gonna tell you everything that happened to me at the Devil's Promenade in Louisiana. My name is Haley, and this is my story. The Devil's Promenade is a dirt road that leads to an old abandoned plantation house in Louisiana. It's surrounded by gnarled ancient cypress trees and Spanish moss hanging from their branches like ghostly beards. And right next to the plantation house are the graves of some former slaves who died on the plantation all those years ago. Now I love anything to do with the paranormal and the occult. So when I heard about this place, I instantly became intrigued. There are local legends that say that the area is cursed and strange lights and figures have been seen moving through the trees at night, and some people have even reported seeing ghosts and hearing disembodied voices. And if that wasn't enough to put you off going there, there's another legend that says that if you go there, then the devil will drag you into the lake and drown you, and then claim your soul. No thanks. I don't think I'll be spending my Saturday night there. But these stories did make me wonder if there was any truth behind them, so I decided to visit the site myself. I really wish I hadn't. It was around dusk when we arrived at the Devil's Promenade, parked our car discreetly down the road from the entrance to the plantation grounds, grabbed our equipment bag, which had our cameras and audio recorders in it, and then walked down the dirt road. As we walked among the trees, I could feel the energy in the air growing more and more intense as we got closer to the house. The temperature dropped significantly, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I felt like we were being watched. Then, suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. Now, I'm not sure if they were following us or if they were just a trick of my overactive imagination. But they were definitely there. Heavy footsteps getting closer and closer. Then I heard a raspy voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time, saying, "Turn around, Haley." I didn't turn around. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I continued walking towards the house, and the footsteps followed. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, and my breathing started to become more rapid. Then I turned around quickly, half expecting to see a man in a black trench coat standing there with a top hat and a monocle and a creepy smile on his face. The usual devilish apparition. But there was no one there. I looked around frantically, but all I saw was the dark outline of a tree against the darkening sky. I don't want to scare you guys, but I legitimately thought that I was about to be dragged into the forest and ripped to shreds by some demonic entity. But then, after a minute or so, the footsteps stopped and the voice went away. I continued on until we reached the edge of the woods and the old plantation house came into view. The paint was peeling from its wooden siding and the windows were boarded up. It looked like something straight out of a horror movie. We spent some time exploring the grounds and the house, taking pictures and trying to make contact with any spirits that may have been there. But we didn't get much in the way of responses. The only thing we got was a cold breeze that seemed to come out of nowhere and a whisper of a woman's voice that said, "Leave." So we decided to call it quits and head home. That was when the terrifying events started to take place. We had barely made it back to our car when the sky became overcast and the wind picked up. Before we knew it, we were caught in the middle of a torrential downpour. We ran for cover and huddled under a tree trying to stay dry. The rain lasted for hours, and by the time it stopped, our clothes were soaked and we were freezing. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what happened next. As if the storm hadn't been enough, the ground began to shake beneath our feet. At first, it was just a slight tremor, but it quickly grew into a violent quake that made it hard to stand. We clung to each other for support and screamed at the top of our lungs as the earth split open beneath us. When it was over, we looked around to see what had happened. The ground was cracked and broken, and there was a deep hole where the tree had been standing just a moment before. But that wasn't the only thing that had changed. The dirt road that we had come down was now gone. In its place was a rushing waterfall that tumbled down a steep embankment. We had no way out. With the road washed away, we were trapped. So we turned around and started walking back towards the plantation house, hoping that we would find a way out. But as we walked, we could feel the vibrations of another earthquake coming. We ran for cover, but it was too late. The earth shook violently and the ground split open again. When it was over, we looked around to see what had happened, and we saw something that made our blood run cold. The plantation house was gone. It had vanished into thin air. In its place was a swirling vortex of mist that reached all the way to the sky. And from the center of the vortex, we could hear the sound of drums and chanting. We tried to run, but it was too late. The vortex sucked us in, and we were pulled through the air towards the ground. We screamed in terror as we fell, knowing that we were about to be ripped apart by the churning, gnashing machinery that awaited us below. But that was when we woke up. We opened our eyes and found ourselves lying on the ground where we had fallen. But the nightmare was not over yet. As we struggled to get up, we saw a figure standing over us in the distance. It was tall and thin, with long, sharp teeth and claws, let out a blood-curdling screech and lunged towards us. We screamed and ran, but it was too quick for us. Kay pounced and knocked me to the ground. As I lay there, paralyzed with fear, it leaned in close to me and whispered in a raspy voice, "You should have stayed dead." Then it vanished. I don't remember much after that. I blocked out for a while, and when I came to, I was lying in a hospital bed. Turns out that my friends had managed to flag down a passing motorist, took us back to the nearest town and called 911. I had cuts and bruises all over my body and a concussion, but I was okay. My friends, though, they didn't fare so well. The trauma of the experience was too much for them, and they both suffered nervous breakdowns. To this day, I can't go anywhere near water without feeling a sense of dread and fear. I can still hear the screams of the earth when it quakes, and I can still feel the icy grip of death as he reaches for me in the darkness. The doctors say that I'm suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, but I know that there is something more going on here. I know that the Devil's Promenade is cursed, and that anyone who goes there is never truly safe. I hope that my story will warn others about the dangers of trespassing on private property and experimenting with the paranormal. Who knows what kind of evil entities we might be able to awaken out there. If you enjoyed this scary story, then check out my channel. New episodes are released every day. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales. Thanks for watching and happy haunting.